Hey friends, welcome back to the Guitar Max channel, and I have the latest creation from Bootlegger Guitars. This is the Bootlegger Guitars Hounder. The new generation of the guitar. They've got an old one. This is the new one right here. And guys, I'll get into all of the cool details of this guitar in just a second. There's a lot of little details that really come together to make this an amazing guitar. But the thing that just blows me away about this guitar is this guitar might have the best sustain of any guitar I've ever played. The sustain of this guitar just totally blows me away. And I'll give you an example of it. This is not even with a lot of gain from the amplifier. I'm playing at a fairly low volume. Just listen to this. Okay, so again, I know a lot of you are saying like, oh, well, if you put enough like compression and gain, high gain stuff on the amplifier, then, it'll just sustain for days, especially turned up real loud. That's the thing, guys. That's like a fairly medium gain setting on the amplifier, and I'm playing here in my apartment, not loud at all. I can just hold those notes forever without even trying. I've checked out like different sustainer devices like the EBO and different versions of that, and of course the Sustainiac pickups. You don't even need all of that stuff with this guitar. Now, why does the guitar sustain so well? Well, we'll get into that, but first I should mention, you guys might have seen my earlier video where I went down to the new Bootleggers showroom in Redondo Beach and checked out some cool guitars down there, and this was one of the ones that I saw down there, and so now I'm able to do a review of this guitar. And just look at this thing for starters. Cobalt blue, wha-bam, right there. I mean, this is a beautiful looking guitar. They do have it in another color that I'll throw in here. But this is just a really wonderful example, I think, of how far import manufacturing, manufacturing in other countries like South Korea, where this guitar is made, it's a really good example of how far that stuff has come. Because first of all, look at the fit and finish on this guitar. It's got the matching headstock, and then there's all these amazing little details. Like look at these, take a close look at these pickup rings, right? These are wood pickup rings. The wood of the pickup rings matches the wood on the headstock, and then the body color is also on the headstock. It's just a beautifully thought out and designed guitar. And in addition to that, I mean, you've got some cool but fairly standard features, like it's got Grover tuners, it's got a graphite nut, and then you've got a roller bridge down here, which makes bending and just the tuning stability in general really, really nice on this guitar. And the rest of the guitar is just really well done. You got a white binding on a maple neck, a rosewood fretboard. It's an ash body. And actually that brings us to one of the things about this guitar that might contribute to the sustain, but it's a fairly heavy guitar for a guitar of this style. It's over 8 pounds. I weighed this one, it was 8.2, and they're saying 8.4 on the website. So not quite Les Paul territory in terms of weight, but it's certainly going to be heavier than a typical Strat. Now, what else might be contributing to the sustain on this guitar? Well, it's got a string-through bridge setup. You can see where it comes through on the back there. Also, the fret finishing is done really, really well. So the string, when you fret something, the strings are not rubbing on any of the other frets. You're not getting any buzzing, anything like that. And of course, there's no like Floyd Rose or Strat style trem springs to sort of wash out the vibrations of the strings. And let's be honest here, these are very hot pickups, so that's going to make a big difference too. And for the demo, I'm using my Boss IR200 amp and cabinet simulator, and I've used that on a ton of demos, and I've got my presets in there. I usually don't tweak them that much unless I want some really specific sound that I don't normally use. So I'm using a fairly standard preset that I've used before with many other guitars, and the sustain with those other guitars was not even close to what it is with this guitar. So there truly is something about this guitar which just keeps those notes going forever. And when I say forever, I mean that's only a slight exaggeration. Obviously, the sun is going to expand and consume the earth at some point. But if I lived long enough and I didn't have to sleep or eat or anything like that, and I could keep my vibrato going for an infinite amount of time, I mean, you could actually hold that note forever. Okay guys, so you heard those clips in the beginning of the video here, but let me give you some more sound samples, with some other amp settings and stuff so you can hear the different tones that we can get out of this guitar. I couldn't get a bad sound out of it, honestly. And before we go on, I should mention, like I said, it's made in South Korea. The company, Bootlegger Guitars, is based right here in Southern California. And this guitar goes for $799. It's like an $800 guitar, and that includes a hard case. So it's an excellent value. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the other sound samples. And of course, guys, real quick, if you enjoy videos like this, checking out cool new affordable guitars, and you have not already subscribed, please consider subscribing right now. Okay, let's plug this in and listen some more to how it sounds. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the playability, and there's something else that's really kind of special about this guitar. So playability-wise, I mean, the guitar plays great. It's got the satin finish on the back of the neck that I always love. The neck profile is kind of a C shape. I mean, it's fairly round, but not overly thick. I mean, it's very, very comfortable neck. It's a 25.5-inch scale length and a 14-inch radius on the fretboard, 22 frets. And yeah, like I mentioned earlier, rosewood fretboard. And for some reason, I was thinking about this lately, I haven't actually played or reviewed very many guitars with rosewood fretboards. They used to be super popular, and it's great, of course, on this guitar. But, you know, I've been playing all of these like roasted maple fretboards and like a bunch of the AIO stuff, which has ebony fretboards. But this is just a beautiful, beautiful piece of rosewood. In the past few years, it has become a little bit more difficult to use rosewood because of some restrictions with the importing and exporting of rosewood. In some cases, it's kind of considered an endangered species of tree and that kind of stuff. But you can still use it. It just depends on where you source it from. Okay, so the other thing, which is really important on this guitar, is the shape of the body and the fact that this is an ash body. It's fairly heavy. Ash is often a very dense wood, and the shape of the body, it's got this kind of like extended part down here. Then you've got the upper horn. So there's a lot of weight over on this side of the guitar. The body, you know, has most of the weight of the guitar in it. And so that pulls the neck up. It keeps the guitar really, really well balanced when you're standing up. But also, when you're sitting down, you see where the dip is here to put your leg, if you're playing with the guitar on your right leg. It keeps like the entire fretboard over here on this side of your body. So it makes it really, really comfortable for playing like on the higher frets, because you're not like reaching way over here with your fretting hand. And then the other thing is if you have it, you know, classical style on the other leg, then kind of similar, but in a different way, it keeps the neck up really, really high. And again, it puts the fretboard off to this side. So you can extend your arm, maybe a little more than usual, to get your chords and everything, you know, your open chords, right? But then playing up here, it just makes it so it keeps your hand in a really, really good position, a good technical position, you know, so you're not like twisting your fingers over or anything like that. Great for wide stretches, you know, you can do your single string triads and everything, no problem. Just overall, this is a really, really well made and really thought out guitar. Bootlegger does a really good job of making guitars that are kind of familiar in some ways. You know, they're loosely based on traditional guitars, but then they change things about them and they add these cool little details to really just take the guitars to the next level. Like the last one I reviewed is a Tele thin line style body, right? Like a traditional Telecaster shape, but a semi-hollow body, and then it's got this crazy pickup arrangement in there that you would never get on a traditional Telecaster, and of course it played great. Okay guys, so let me ask you this. You know, I'm raving about the sustain of this guitar. What is the best sustaining guitar you have ever played? Let me know down in the comment section below. And also guys, just what do you think of this guitar? What do you think of the color? I love the color. It's just the right amount of classy and flashy, right? It's a great combination. I love how it looks. And these little touches, right? The chrome hardware and then the wood pickup rings that matches the headstock. It just makes the whole guitar look very striking, but still very tasteful. Okay guys, that is it for this video. I'm gonna have links for everything I was talking about in the video down in the video description below. I will also include a link down there for that video I did where I went down to the Bootlegger's Guitar store, if you wanna check that out. And of course, I'll have links for my social media and instructional videos, all that stuff down in the video description below. Okay guys, thanks a ton for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you very soon.